Hi, Misha here, and for quite some time I've wanted to get a model of the original USS Enterprise NCC-1701. No, not anything from Discovery, but from the 1960s, often referred to as the Cage model. It was also used in modified form for the first true pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before, and has appeared in a few other episodes, for example, Mirror Mirror, at least in TOS Remastered. And there were quite a few differences. And as you know, I do the Eaglemoss thing, and so I've made 3 attempts now to buy an early version. Now keep in mind I can't see the pictures on the website, blind, so I kind of took it at face value and have tried over the years to pick something up. And just recently, they released the Enterprise Cage model as a bonus edition. So check it out and see if they finally got it right. Before that, they also released the Yorktown as an exclusive or collector's or whatever edition. And they released the Mirror Universe Constitution, again as a bonus edition. So none of these are actually in the original full Starships collection. And so what I wanted to do is get a model of the Cage, because it kind of is a little bit interesting to me, because I remember purchasing the original VHS tape, 1986 tape, of the Cage, finding it at a local, now defunct store. I think it was called Ventures, but yeah, they had it and I was excited. Remember, that was well before any kind of internet ordering and even mail ordering was a little dubious. That was back in the 6 to 8 weeks time. So to find one in the store, picked it up, immediately took it home. I had a little 13-inch TV, because what do I need with, and played it, and it had the introduction from Roddenberry, and it was really interesting to me. I thought it was quite interesting, and it's more of a cerebral, more of a dialogue-driven episode, which appealed to me greatly. Plus, it was neat to see new Star Trek. But yeah, the original Enterprise in it was a little different from what we come to know. So, the Yorktown model here is an example of just the standard Constitution. Now when I bought it, I was hoping, because the Yorktown, the USS Yorktown was the original name for the Enterprise, I was hoping Eaglemoss would do it in the old style, but they didn't. They just took the regular Connie mold for the Enterprise and put Yorktown on it. Oh well. They also did the same. They used the same mold for their model of the USS Defiant, the one that glows in the dark. So next I bought the Mirror Universe one, because I knew they used the original style model. In this one they did do some work. Notice it does have the pretty famous little spikes on the Bassard collectors. These have kind of come to symbolize early TOS. For example, you see them in the Daedalus class, and they appear in some of the Enterprise ships, and even some of the JJ ships, at least to some extent. And they also have a little bit different back to the nacelle, so it doesn't have the little round balls. It's just kind of smooth, a little bit of a taper. But the bridge is unaltered. Standard Connie bridge on this. And it has other standard features like the standard deflector. So, when they announced the Cage model, I really wasn't going to buy it, but honestly with this whole COVID thing, there hasn't been much new to get, and I needed to get up to the free shipping level, and at that point I'm like, why not? So I actually ordered it quite some time ago, and they shipped it pretty quickly, and then it got pretty much lost in the mail for nearly a month. I guess it wasn't technically lost, it was always being tracked, but yeah. It finally got here this morning, so I thought I'd do this video. So like the Mirror Universe, it has the nacelles with the spikes on the collectors, and it has the end caps, and now it does have the correct larger deflector dish. Now I'm going to be honest, when this was made, when Matt Jeffries designed it, this was not a deflector dish. This was to be a communications dish, communications array. It's kind of retconned into being a deflector dish. And it is much hooger. So that's good. Unfortunately, it still seems to have the small bridge dome. So it does have really close to the right star drive section, and the simple reason is this: the star drive part of these models is polymer, plastic, so it's easy to make a new mold. The saucer section is metal, so it's probably much harder to make a whole new mold for a special limited run. So I kind of get it. It's probably an economical choice. It does feel like the running lights on this are a little more pronounced, larger. I don't know. See what you think. And I'm sure they painted it differently. Yeah, it definitely feels like the running lights a little different. So I think they did alter those. But the bridge, I don't know. It does feel a little bolder, I'm going to be honest, than I'm sitting here feeling it. What do you think? It feels like the lines are a little bolder on this one to the metal. So maybe they did a little bit to try to make it look larger. Here is the... I think maybe they did a little bit to try to make it look big. Now, that's the thing. In universe, the Enterprise was launched in 2245 under Robert April, and then sometime around 2255 or whatever, Captain Pike took over, and that's where the cage comes from. And then it was refit in the 2260s, and that's when Kirk took over around 2265. So it was already a 20-year-old ship. By the time it was, well, self-destructed, she was 40 years old, which is not at all unreasonable even for a modern-day naval vessel, not to mention a starship. So perfectly fine, and modern-day naval vessels go through lots of refits, including replacing superstructures and engines and even enlarging the hull. So that's perfectly logical. And speaking of enlarging, the reason we have a larger deflector and a larger bridge module on the Cage Enterprise was, in reality, it was a smaller ship. It was expected to have a crew of about 200, a little over. But when it came time for No Man Has Gone Before in the original series, they decided to make it a larger ship of about 400. So they've already got a studio model made. Models are expensive. So they made some superficial changes to try to make it seem bigger. So they shrunk down the bridge, and they shrunk down the deflector, and they reworked the nacelles. So here she is off the stand. Some people complain that all I do is spin them, but oh well. Actually fits the stand quite well. Of Wish you guys can see the paint. I can't. There's the enlarged deflector. I've also noticed there is a little bit of a spine behind the gooseneck that's not on the other models. So there are some small details differences, which I appreciate. I like details. Just not sure about that bridge module, but now that I feel it, it does feel a little bolder than the others. So maybe they did try to slightly enlarge it. That's a word, right? But yeah, this was seen in the cage. It was slightly modified for the second pilot, and then it appears as the mirror ship. And I'm okay with the fact that the mirror ship has the smaller deflector, because in Universe it was supposed to be a 400-person ship. It's alright. Now, of course, if you want to try to justify that in reality, and the crew being stated as 200 is in the cage episode, so if you want to try to figure out how the ship went from holding 200 to 400, I mean, yeah, warships in World War II had more crew than they did in World War I, even the same ship, but typically not doubling. But, yeah. That also kind of explains why the shuttle bay always looked big to me in the original series. Because originally I think it was meant for a smaller ship, and there was more in scale. But of course you can just say it's a double-decker shuttle bay. So yeah, the newest one from Eaglemoss, modeled after the cage. What do you think about it? Of course it, as usual, comes on the typical stand. I actually like these stands. They've got a felt bottom. Typically these little stands hold them quite well. There have been plenty of model kits of the cage, so it's nothing new, but it's nice. And again, it's in the special or bonus section, not the standard. And we get it towards the end of the collection, so it's kind of nice just to wrap things up. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. As always, I hope I got something on camera for you. This is Misha, and I'll catch you very soon. Next time.